Strap in, Wargamers, because today we are going deep. From the title of this video, you understand that we are going to talk about how to be a more productive Wargamer. And this is not a murder mystery. There's no spoilers here. The message that I'm bringing to you today is stop being a consumer and start being a producer. And I'm going to lay out an argument by which our hobby was built by hobbyists who produced things, not by consumers who went out and bought things. This is a hobby for people who are builders, not for people who are wasters. And to illustrate this, to illustrate how you should approach this hobby and how you should approach what to buy and where to invest, not just your money, but also your time, I want to do a quick comparison between the original chainmail rules. I printed up the cover of I think this is the first edition. It's from Guidon Games. And I want to draw your attention to the credits for chainmail, Gary Gygax and Jeff Perrin. By the time chainmail moved over to TSR, they added Don Lowry as the illustrator. That is a trio of men who were miniature wargamers, who had a concise and unique vision that they saw through and they brought to the masses. These are builders. These are people who are genuinely concerned with the hobby and with the people in the hobby. The Gygax mindset is the mindset that built this hobby, and it is the mindset that will save this hobby. That may sound a bit overdramatic to you. We'll talk more, we'll circle back around to what I mean by saving the hobby in a little bit. I want to show you how the hobby evolved over 30 years and show you a different suite of chainmail credits. 30 years later, you can see I've been painting today, a lot of dry brushing. 30 years later, Wizards of the Coast, unable to create their own miniature wargaming franchise, traded on the good name built by Gary Gygax. And so powerful was his vision that 30 years later, corporate types were still trading on it. But these credits are very different from these credits, aren't they? This is a full page. And the design team is not two individuals, two artists, two Michelangelos of the tabletop set. Oh, no. They have a design team of 5 people with a design and development team of an additional 7 people. Okay, so every time you add another person, you're making compromises. You're compromising, you're watering down, you're vanilla-izing and making more bland. You're making the product more bland to appeal to more people. In a lot of ways, you're dumbing it down. You're a wargamer. You don't need things dumbed down. You are a literate individual who is very interested in a wide range of things in a very real sense. You are a modern-day Renaissance man, interested in craftsmanship, art, history, literature, all kinds of things. So, be that as it may, look at the credits here. And one of the things I want to draw your attention to is that when you purchased this set of rules, you were getting this set of rules with a little bit of art. When you bought this set of rules, you were not getting the guidance for an activity. You were actually purchasing an art book. Pretty radical thing to say, but take a look at what we've got here. You've got, you know what? Creating your own world is very hard, and they need to protect their brand. So they came up with the Sundered Empire, and they hired writers for that, the creative director. Now we get 3 guys writing the rules with an editor. All right, fine editor, we'll give you that. We got a business managers, right? So they take the marketers and they ask people what they want, and they make sure that they try to please as many people as possible. Take a look at this. Visual creative director, concept artist, cover artist, interior artist, terrain and diagram artist, Okay, I'll give you a lead sculptor. This is a product line of miniatures. You need sculptors, and I'll even give you, the sculptors and maybe a model painter or two, but here you've got a whole team. In addition to the copyright, the graphic designers, the typographers, color correction. You need a production manager for all of this. This is corporate America. This is the McDonald's of miniature wargaming. This pleases everyone without really bringing, it's a different kind of value. It's a bland and smoothed out corporate value. This is after 30 years. This style of gaming inspired this style 30 years later, and this is still inspiring people. This is the foundation of our hobby. So when I say to be more productive, be the Gygax. Don't be the corporate team. Let's take a look at an even more modern product. Let's take a look at what this product turned into. I mean, we all know that chainmail turned into OD&D. Let's take a look at what this version of chainmail would eventually lead to. I've got a hard copy of the Player's Handbook, and again, this is not a game book. This is an art book with some rules in it. It's, what is it, about 300 pages? 308 pages plus, with lots of pretty art. I should be careful of the spells. There's not a whole lot of art there. Pretty art. Well, okay, it's got art. Let's not get too crazy with the pretty. Let's take a look at the credits here. This block is interior illustrators. This is all of the art. Compare the game versus the art. This is not meant to be used. It's meant to be looked at. It's meant to be consumed. You don't produce anything with this. You take these ingredients, the same limited number of ingredients, and use them the way these guys wanted you to use them. You're not creating. Not nearly to the extent that you were with this simple suite of rules. I'll say it again. Here at the Joy of Wargaming, we are excited about wargaming, not looking at pretty art pictures. If you want to be more productive as a wargamer, this is the mindset you need. Produce gaming materials that you can use on your own table. Build your own table. Don't rely on corporate America to tell you what you should be doing. That is a trap that leads to bad places. Rely on your fellow creatives. Ivan Sorensen, 5 Parsecs from Home. I've showed you how this game works, and I will continue to do so over the coming weeks. I've got some great stuff planned for Void Pirates bolted on to this. Produce your own table. That's how to be more productive. Now, with that said, I want to circle back around to when I said saving the hobby. Due to current events, a lot of big industries are suffering right now. Restaurants, hotels, film, all kinds of industries. The tabletop gaming community is a boom and bust community. This big granddaddy of them all started off huge. This book was purchased through a Sears catalog. It was that popular. After the blooms entered TSR, it suffered a crash. In the late 90s, Wizards of the Coast bought this brand, infused a lot of money into it, Magic the Gathering money, and created a secondary boom from people who were nostalgic and hadn't played in 20 years. And then they opened it up. They did a lot of great things, but you had a period of about 5 to 10 years where the number of products blossomed. And it was a consumer economy. You went out and bought a lot of stuff, a lot of which you only read, and eventually it collapsed under its own weight. It wasn't until This 5th edition came out and captured the imagination of people who don't play the game but like the brand and like being associated with tabletop gaming. And they spend a lot of time doing things that are not gaming and insisting that they're playing Dungeons and Dragons. Now, I'm not here to judge them for what they're doing, except that if you're knitting a goblin, you're not actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. You're knitting. If you're watching improv actors use Dungeons and Dragons as a theme around which they do their improv, you're not actually playing Dungeons and Dragons. And this is a very dangerous thing. A lot of people think that numbers are all you need. Hey, it's popular. Lots of people like this brand. So we need to shape the brand to fit the people. Au contraire, mon frère. Do not shape the hobby to meet the lowest common denominator. You, as a wargamer, need to shape your game to fit you. This is your hobby. Guys like you built this hobby and spread this hobby. This is your hobby. You do it the way you see fit. Don't let these guys convince you that the way to pursue this hobby is to constantly be chasing after the new hotness, to constantly be looking for what's the new thing that everybody's doing. Oh, is there a new edition of the big game out? Is there a new box set that all of the cool kids are chasing after this year? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's this season's new hotness? Don't treat this as a seasonal thing. Treat it as a lifestyle. Treat it as an investment. An investment in yourself. Hop off the hamster wheel. Stop chasing after every new product. I want to show you a little Kickstarter here for a game called Gangs of the Undercity. It's a Necromunda knockoff. And as you can see, it's only been out for 2 days. It's got almost $50,000 and 500 backers. So that's an average of $100 per person for a derivative game that, let's take a look at what you get. You get a total of 11 miniatures, 12 miniatures, and a pocket rule book and some tokens. And by the way, these miniatures are not great. They're the kind of corporate mass-produced miniatures that feature a lot of questionable choices for what's going on here. They're not attractive. They're look at this gal. This is very this is I don't see the appeal. Hey, maybe you do see the appeal. We're not here to talk about tastes in women or that sort of thing. What I wanted to show you is that the basic game here, you're looking at $65 for 12 miniatures, 12 plastic miniatures that weren't even carved. They were designed in some kind of AutoCAD, some kind of computer thing. Very sterile, despite the ugliness, very sterile. And this 2-player starter set, it gives you everything you need. It gives you the personalities. They've done all the work for you. They've done all the creating for you. You don't have to actually do anything. And the question I have is, out of the 500 sets that are sold, okay, a lot of these are going to be $10 backers. Let's call it 300. Out of the 300 sets that are sold, how many of these do you think are going to be painted? For an extra $150, you don't even have to make your own terrain. See, you get all the ready-made terrain, and you don't even have to paint it. What's the point? All of the best aspects of this hobby have already been done for you. This is a way to pay people to not have to participate in your hobby. And I can almost guarantee you, nobody's going to be talking about this game next season. In a year, this is going to be sitting in, this box set will be sitting in 300 closets gathering dust, because this is the Funko Pop of miniature wargaming. It's not for wargaming hobbyists. It is for consumers who want to be seen purchasing miniature wargaming products, but don't actually have the same vested interest as those of us that have spent 30 years honing our painting and crafting and skills and learning the history and learning the tactics and becoming fluent in the hobby itself. This is a part of the lifestyle brand that you now have a tribe. And it's a tribe that was built by guys like you. All right, you know what? I'm not going to lie. Those vehicles are pretty awesome. If I was gaming in 28mm, I might actually be tempted to get those. But again, this is disposable entertainment. And it's all over the place. There are tons of these dropping all the time. This isn't, I don't even consider this miniature wargaming. This is board gaming. Yeah, there's miniatures, and yeah, it's a war game, but hey, guess what? You just described chess. Is chess a miniature war game? I don't think so. You got to be careful with those little definitions, because those of us that built this hobby, that have been participating in it and maintaining the flame and the torch, even after through multiple boom and bust cycles, we run the risk of being defined out of the hobby whose flame we maintained through multiple boom and bust cycles. And that is the crux of the matter. It's not that more people want to miniature wargame. The problem is when people want to trade on the miniature wargaming name without doing the miniature wargaming effort. That they want the prestige that comes along with being a mathematically numerate and historically literate and just generally literate, and also patient enough and hands-on enough to be able to craft the hobby. And it might sound strange to say, well, why are you worried about people changing the definition of miniature wargaming? Because I just showed you a slick, overproduced board game that's going to be classified as a miniature wargame, despite the fact that it shares very little DNA with the kinds of things you find in an Ian Dickey book, or in this sort of labor of love, Rogue Planet. This is such a fun game. I can't wait to tell you about this. Or the kind of labor of love that results in 5 parsecs from home, or the entire 5-course system, or the labor of love that gives birth to 1 million tabletop games. And I don't think it's an exaggeration to say that Chainmail, which was one of the fathers of D&D and one of the fathers of the modern miniature wargaming movement, this is the game that launched 1 million tables. Not some flash in the pan Funko Pop version of dumbed down, mass-produced, everybody gets a trophy style miniature wargame, and a miniature wargame where you don't have to be creative, you don't have to put in the work, you just slap down $75, you wear the label, I'm a miniature wargamer, and what? And you forget about it in 6 months. You know how long I've been playing this game? This is a miniature war game. You know how long I've been playing this game? You know how long I've been playing this game? I bought this book probably 4 years ago, and I'm still learning new things about it. I'm still looking forward to 6 projects down the line, trying the World War II rules, getting the miniatures and building the bases and building a new terrain set specifically for World War II. I am interested in producing something unique and different, not consuming the same thing that everybody else is consuming. We're a very strange lot. We do things very differently. And let's not water down and cheapen our hobby by accepting ersatz versions of the hobby, all right? That's what we're getting at here. If you want to be more productive, keep producing, keep playing, keep painting, and for God's sake, if you've got a lead mountain pile that's bigger than a shoebox, you're just buying things for the sake of buying things. Stop buying and start doing. That is how you be more productive. Change your mindset and be the Gygax. If you do, you'll have a better table, we'll have a better hobby, and in our own small way, we'll make this a better world. One that's not so disposable. One that is built upon our ancestors and that we can pass along to our children. Be the Gygax. Make the world a better place. And until next time, God bless you.